And welcome to the Writer's Life, a place where you get the sight, sounds, smells, taste of my particular writer's life, where you get the truth about the writer's life. Subscribe if you haven't already. Punch the like button, tap the bell for notifications so that you don't miss out on one single unbelievable video. It's been very busy. I wanted to come to you yesterday, but trying to get this Chase Baker read through finished so I can send it to the editor and so he can do his thing. Already have the artwork. Oh my god, I got dental floss all over the place here. Not like anybody cares. So that I want to try to get that out. Depending on how fast the editor goes, I want to try to get that out Monday, Tuesday at the latest. So that you guys can, and then I get the paper out and I'll get some sort of audio out. I think I'm going to go with the old-fashioned human voice this time. I've been dabbling with the AI stuff, and I don't think I'm selling any of those, to be honest. I've sold a few, but I'm going to go right back to the old human voice. I think that's a good idea. So that should be out. Figure if I go the human angle, the audio will be out in a month or two, something like that. See, that's the thing about the AI thing, because you can get it out immediately, like within seconds. I've done it over my phone. It's that easy. But when something's that easy, probably not worth it, right? So, have things calmed down for you now that the election is over? Knock on wood, there have been no riots. Antifa hasn't shown its ugly face. My guess is all those kids are down in their parents' basement playing video games. Not worth it. I think that's because what happened was a real mandate. Trump won the popular vote, and blacks, Latinos, Asians, women, men, we all came together. White men, everybody sort of joined together to say, like, we're not happy with the way this country is being run right now, and so this is what we want to do. For better or for worse, we'll have to see. My gut feeling is, my libertarian gut feeling is that this will all be for the better, that we will be more secure, not only at home with the border and all that sort of stuff. And listen, I hope migration continues. We need it, but it's got to be legal. We can't just, like, oh, here are the keys to my house, just hang out. It's got to be, people have to be vetted. It has to be legal. And by all means, keep coming, but keep coming the legal way, because we need you. We're a nation of immigrants. I'm the product of immigrants. I'm third generation or something like that? Italian and Polish, little Austrian in there. So, gotta have it, but it's gotta be done right. It can't be. And let's face it, like, no one wants to, like, come out and say it, but the leftists wanted it so that they could get more votes. Come on, let's just call a spade, and it's what they wanted, more votes. That's all. And then on a secondary level, the oligarchs wanted it for cheap labor, which is really just a sin, because it's really just some sort of, like, almost like a slavery. All right, what is this thing that shows up every now and then? Cut it out. All right, I'm gonna have to go to, like, the paid version of Restream. I'm not that cheap. You have so many things you got to pay for as a writer, like BookFunnel and MailerLite and I don't know, advertising. And I know I'm always bitching about it. Now I have to pay for this, and, like, so I don't know. Marketing, you have to pay for, like, BookBubs and stuff. So anyway, I try to keep it to a minimum, because I'd rather put my money into Bitcoin. Doesn't mean you have to do that. Remember, I'm not suggesting you buy Bitcoin. Now is a good time though. But this is pure entertainment. It is not. I am not asking you to buy anything. That's do your own research. Do what works for you, and make the right decision that you're comfortable with, that you can sleep with at night. I took a nap, and so like, a little bit out of it. So there's migration. Already, word on the street, and I think this can be verified. I don't have the receipts in front of me, but already Mr. Putin and Mr. Zelensky, I believe, have agreed to sit down and discuss peace talks. That's a wonderful thing. Hamas and Iran are already talking peace in the Middle East. So like the effect on the global situation is already a positive one. Anything could change, however, anything. Several major businesses are already planning on shuttering their factories in China and moving them back to the United States because they're afraid of having to pay tariffs. That's a good thing. I believe there was a 3,000 or 4,000 illegals had already made it to the southern Mexican border and were getting ready to cross the border unimpeded, and they disbanded and went back, fearing that they wouldn't be allowed in. You will be allowed in if you do it the right way. So don't give up, but just go through the proper channels. Obviously it's going to take a while for prices to come down. If they ever do. Sometimes once a price is, like $5 eggs or $6 eggs, that could be, like once a price is established, oftentimes that's it. You're never going to go backwards again. Backwards again? I don't know. You're never going to go backwards. But perhaps we will have such a better economy now that we can drill again for gas, natural gas, and oil. Perhaps we will have a booming economy again, and people will be making more money. And then you can afford the prices that exist right now. Price of gas will come down, however. I predict by this time next year, because it's going to take some time, by this time next year, gas will be like $1.75 a gallon in more rural areas. I can't say that with I'm taking this medicine and it's messing up my teeth. So like I can't even pronounce words sometimes. But I'm done with the medicine in February, so hopefully my mouth will recover. But I believe we will get some relief at the pump sooner than later. Now there's other issues. This Juan Merchan in New York City, who is the judge overseeing one of these really ridiculous cases against Trump. Like he could technically still, there's a sentencing in like a week. He could still technically try to send Trump to jail. I think he would have trouble because there's all sorts of laws that say you can't send somebody, someone who's been elected, who's president-elect, can't mess up their transition or something like that. We'll have to see. But there's some loons in both the Republican Party and the Democrat Party that would love to see that. That would love to see it, even just for the optics, because it would represent a small win for them. Like the Billy Crystal on the Republican side, and any number of legacy media people on the left side. Joe Scarborough, for instance, he's a douche. But we'll see. Okay, speaking of legacy media, when I'm right, I'm right, and I'm wrong all the time, but occasionally I get it right. The legacy media really proved itself to be just completely done. Cable news is done. It's finished. It's not going to go away. It'll still be there, but no one trusts it anymore. It'll be done. NBC, their coverage of the election down 25%. CBS down 25%. The Today Show is down 26%. ABC down like the same. And independent media has taken over. Like Joe Rogan killed it. Lex Friedman killing it. Breaking Point killing it. Even my little station does okay sometimes. Not, I, obviously I'm no Rogan, but for a guy who comes on like 3 or 4 times a week, totally unscripted and just speaks his mind, and occasionally has a really cool guest like Big Philly a few days ago during the election. It doesn't do too badly, and I've got my new mic, starting to get a little more professional. The reason I don't go nuts with this thing, or you're probably like, all right, Vince, like it's time for you to like up your game and to scale up with this a little bit, right? Maybe turn it into more like, say, Matt Taibbi's Substack and YouTube channel and whatever he's got, where it's not, it's sort of like this, but he has Walter Kern on all the time, so he kind of splits it up, and I love Walter Kern. They make a great team. Love Walter Kern's writing. I love Matt's writing. And that's something like I might want to achieve given time. But the reason I don't go about it like that, like why I don't, is because I'd rather put all my energy into the writing and the publishing. And I'm working with a new agent now. I have 2 books coming out traditionally next year at least. I'm working on a standalone that I'm going to give to the agent when it's done, if it's as good as I think it's going to be. If it's not, then maybe Bear Media will do it. Not that it's meaning, okay, that's probably the wrong choice of words. It's going to be good. Believe me, it's going to be good. I'm having a blast writing it. It's sort of writing itself. Based on a true story, by the way. But when I base something on a true story, I sort of, it's only true to, it's only like 10% true. The rest of it is my warped imagination. But if it turns out a certain way, is what I'm trying to say, and I think it can be sold for decent money, then I'm definitely going to throw it the agent's way and see how he likes it or not. And if not, I'll write another one. Actually, I have a couple of standalones I might show him. The only problem with the other standalone is it's in the Rebecca Underhill trilogy. So you got The Remains, which is out, but The Remains sold a ton of copies, a couple 100,000 copies by now, probably. The Ashes, which is sold like that, I did myself because for some stupid reason over at Thomas and Mercer, they were like, oh no, we can't do a sequel now because it's too late. This was like 4 years later, and they're like, the algorithm says it won't sell. It's my second best-selling book next to this one and The Innocent. So like, I think they got that one wrong. Not that they care. And then this one will be called The Bones. So I get it. The Remains, The Ashes, The Bones. And it's good. But we'll see. I don't know. The agent might be like, nah, I don't want to sell book 3 without being able to sell book 1 and 2. And I don't know if I want to sell those. See what you can do when you're a hybrid author? You can choose which books you want to sell to legacy publishers, and you can choose which books you want to keep the IP to and not sell. Like, for instance, I've said it a million times, the Chase Bakers are not for sale. The Shroud Key is also one of my top 5 sellers. Actually, maybe the Shroud Key sells better than The Remains. I think it does, actually. I think my number 1 book is the Shroud Key. And like at least a few of the Chase Baker books are in the top 10. Yeah, because I've sold maybe close to 50,000 in all formats of the Shroud Key. I'm sure. Um, yeah, I'm sure of it. And I have a new one coming out this week. Don't forget, Chase Baker and the Purple Robe, Robe, the Purple Robe of Christ. It's really good. Padre Pio's in it. Padre Pio, I call him Padre Pio the Second because it's contemporary times. And I use like Russell Crowe in his most recent film where he's a priest. I kind of modeled him after that. Might as well just be honest about it. But it's really good. You're going to enjoy it. It goes from Fort William Henry up in Lake George to Italy, to Turkey, to Egypt. 3 places I spent a lot of time in the past year and a half. And I wrote the book. I wrote Purple Robe of Christ while in Italy last year. That's what I spent my 2 months doing. Usually it just takes me like 3 weeks to a month to write like one of my series books, but the Chase Bakers take like 2 months because there's considerable amount of research involved. So you got to take the time to do that. And standalones can take 2 to 3 months or even longer because they're longer books, and there's a literary component. So like I find myself not relying just on a first draft for those. You want to go through a couple, 3 drafts. Anyway, how do I get off on this stuff? How do I go from like the election to this stuff? Anyway, it pleases me that there hasn't been thus far, I'll knock again, any rioting or anything like that. I think, and it also, I mean, I know there's people that are disappointed and even upset, and my condolences or whatever. But I think for the most part, the fact that the Donald won the popular vote convincingly, and that the Republicans took the Senate, and they're going to take the House. I just added it all. I did the math, and there's no way they can't. It's going to be close, though. The House is going to be. They're going to take it, but it's going to be like 215 to 218 again. Something like that, 214 maybe to 218. It just represents a shift, just a huge shift in mindset in this country. And listen, again, I'm a libertarian, so I vote my conscience, and I vote who I think is the best person for the job. I believe in meritocracy, not DEI. I don't believe in that. I think that would cause destruction if it lasted any longer than it has already. But when they started messing, and some Republicans are doing this too. Again, I don't take either side. I'm a down the middle libertarian. When they started messing with the First Amendment, saying that it was getting in the way of controlling what people say in social media and things like this, I'm like, that's it. That's absolutely it. I'm a writer. I should be able to write what I want, how I want, and that's it. No censors whatsoever. You don't like it, don't read it. You don't like what I have to say, don't listen to it, change the channel. And that's the way it should be. There are a lot of people who, like I just mentioned, Joe Scarborough. Some of his stuff is just moronic. Like I can't stand like listening to him for more than 3 minutes because it's just hateful stuff. But I guarantee you, on the drive home, like he and Mika, he's probably like, did I get it right today? Like, this is the script they gave me, and did I read it convincingly? He probably has a totally different political philosophy than the one he portrays for MSNBC. Is it MSNBC? Yeah. Don't forget, folks, they're basically scripted. They're hired to take a certain viewpoint, and if they veer from that viewpoint, they'll get their walking papers. So it's not real. That's why people don't trust it. Anyway, you guys get it. All right, that's all I got. It's Friday. I'm gonna go out for a walk. The weather took a turn. It was sunny this morning, and now it's blustery and overcast. Almost looks like it's going to snow, but it's not warm, cold enough to snow. Not yet. Can't wait though. Got to bring my skis in, get them tuned up. Next week's going to be a big week. I'll probably only be able to come to you 2 days next week. I got one of those doctor's appointment checkup deals. And then the next week I have another checkup thing and then like a dental appointment. So like it's one of those months. All right. But I'll get to you as much as I possibly can. Try to find another guest to get on and make things even more entertaining for you. All right. That's all I got. Have a great weekend and I'll talk to you soon and ciao, ciao.